This is a short video on how to install an RTL SDR dongle into a PC along with some software to run it. I'm remoted into a laptop running a fairly clean copy of Windows 7 Professional. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, there's the dongle that we need to get. Available at Amazon, about $22. One of the more popular ones is the RTL SDR. There are other versions of it out there that are based on the same chip. There's also other SDRs out there that use different chips that are quite a bit more expensive, but this is a good starter one. A couple things to note on this. The USB connection on this dongle is sometimes a bit loose. And so what I have done is to, rather than plugging it directly into the USB port on a computer, I actually plug a USB extension cable into the computer and then plug the dongle into the cable and then use a little bit of tape to secure the connection between the end of the USB cable and the dongle itself. Down here you have the antenna connection, which obviously you need some form of an antenna. And the type of connection is known as an SMA, which is sort of a miniature RF connection. You can get antennas with the dongle from Amazon. You can buy some kits that will have it. Probably, for example, there's one right down here. $30 will get you the dongle and antennas and a bit of wiring, etc. Everything you need to get started. So when you first plug the dongle into your computer, Windows will recognize a chip in there and install a driver for it. Unfortunately, that driver is not the one that we need for interfacing to the software. So what you'll need to do is go to this website, zadig.akeo.ie, and download the USB driver for the dongle. Save file, small file, very quick. Next thing we need is the software. There are various software packages out there. One of the more popular ones is SDR Sharp, which is considered to be the gold standard for SDRs. I'm going to start with HDSDR. It's a simpler version, a little less fussy to get going. So we'll start with this one here. So I'm on the page, go to download. You want to get stable version 2.76a. We'll download that. Again, very small file. Here we go. Finally, what we need is a DLL, which is a dynamic link library. Basically, it functions as a translator between the dongle and the software. And we will scroll down to, there we go, RTL SDR. The version you want to get is the USB version. So click on that link for the DLL, save it. There we go. Okay, we're done with that part. So now let's look at the files that we downloaded. So we got the 3 files. First thing we want to do is install the USB driver. And what I'm going to do is first not plug in the dongle so you can see what will show up. So you go to Options, list all devices, and now let's see what it found. Okay, it found a laser mouse, a USB camera, and a fingerprint sensor. Close it. And now we're going to plug the dongle into the computer. Okay, you can see a little icon popped up down here. It means that Windows recognized it. So now let's open up this again, and let's see what we got this time. So we go to Options, list all devices, Aha, okay, we got some additional items in there. The one that we want to use is bulk in interface 0. So we select that one, and now we're going to click on reinstall driver. And you do want to be careful about this here. You want to make sure you get this one here and not any of the others. So we're going to reinstall driver, and that takes a little bit. There we go, done. All right. So next thing we install is HDSDR. And we're going to just install that into the directory it likes, which is program files x86. Create a desktop shortcut, yes, and install. We're done. Okay, we don't want to launch it quite yet. So we'll uncheck that one and finish. So now we want to take the DLL and copy that over into the folder that HDSDR is in. And there it is. Okay, so these are the files that came with HDSDR, but it needs a translator so it can talk to the dongle, which is the DLL. And so we're going to paste that right here. There we go. Alright, now we should be ready to try it out. So let's double click this here and see what happens. Okay, let me maximize that. So there we go, it's running. Defaulted to 28.5 megahertz upper sideband. So there's a couple things we're going to do here. First of all, let's look at this. First, let's stop it. Okay, look at bandwidth. Okay, so the RTL SDR likes 2048. So we're going to pick that one. And for the output sampling rate, you want to pick 96 kilohertz. I've tried this before, and the others give you some fairly garbled sound. You want to pick 96 kilohertz. Okay. Then we want to go to FM, because that's the easiest one to listen to. Another thing we want to do, we want to look at this extension IO. Now that basically is the DLL that we installed specifically for this dongle. What we want to do is we want to make sure that the RTL audio gain control and the tuner automatic gain control are disabled. We're going to disable those because we're going to manually set that. Okay, so let's start this again. Go to start. Okay, not seeing much there. So we're at 28 megahertz, which is down in the shortwave band. What we want to do is go up to FM, just like your typical FM radio. And let's pick a frequency somewhere between 110 and 100 megahertz and see what shows up here. Alrighty. So this is the spectrum display. We do see some things down here. We want to make a little more room down here. So if you right click right on top of this bar, you can drag this up. There, now we made a little more room. So the next thing we want to do is to adjust some of these settings here, which is the offset and the range. So we'll leave it up there just so we can kind of see what's going on. Okay, so we got some signals here. Let's go back to the DLL and let's start playing a little bit with the gain settings here. Aha, okay. So if you go to maximum, you'll see that we're starting to top out there. maybe we start with something halfway in between. And let's click on one of these bands here. These likely are some FM radio stations. You go here. Okay. Now let's turn the sound up here. Well, not much there. Let's try this one. Okay, let's see. We need to go back into this here. Aha, this one reset itself for some reason to 1200. You want to go to this one here, 96,000. There we go. Okay. Another station here. Another station here. Let's dial down a little bit. What do we got here? Okay, you saw what happened here. For some reason, the sound card bandwidth had reset itself to 12,000. So 96,000 is the one that you want. So a couple things you can do. We got the waterfall display up there. We got the spectrum. These bars, sliders, control both the waterfall and the spectrum. You move the waterfall slider intensity up and down to the point where you can see your signal without it being totally saturated. And then the other slider basically sets the contrast on that. Likewise, you can do the same thing for the spectrum down here. So we can move that up and down and also control the span of it. And then this one here will control the amount of zoom. For this application here, might as well just stay zoomed out. Down here, this part deals with the audio. It's showing us going up to 45 kilohertz, which obviously, we can't hear on here anyway. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. And again, if you play with these settings, you can kind of adjust this to the point where you can see the visual representation of the audio. So I think I'm going to leave it with that for the time being. If you feel like coming back, I might have some additional videos in the future. Thanks for stopping by.